I'm going to introduce our speaker, Jane Anderson. Jane is a strengths-based coach and consultant, which she has done for over 2 decades. She serves as a VIA Institute faculty member and president of Strengths-Based Living, LLC, a business dedicated to helping individuals and groups harness character strengths. Her book, 30 Days of Character Strengths, A Guided Practice to Ignite Your Best Self, offers a guided strengths journey to shift from wrong to strong in personal and professional settings. And I encourage you to get that book if you are looking to lift your own well-being across a 30-day period. Jane's book is a terrific resource. So Jane, I'm going to turn it over to you and invite you to just kind of say hello to everyone.
Thank you, Kelly. Hello to you and hello to everyone. I'm so excited to be here today with you all to share a few tools. VIA has so many tools. We'll share many, but not all of them, of course. But I want to hone in on the ones that are geared for professionals like us to increase our impact. And so we'll key into a number of tools. Here's our agenda for today, just to give you a sense of what's coming up. We'll do a quick warm up. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about what it means to be strength-based, because we all have many different types of experiences and approaches. And so I want to make sure we're sort of all aligned on that as we go forward. Then we'll talk in particular about VIA's Pro Dashboard, which is a tool to help coaches and consultants, and the Total 24 report. And then don't forget to stay on till the end, towards the end for your bonus. I'd like to start today with a mindful pause, which is the first tool that I'd like to share with you. Many of you are probably aware of it, but some of you might not be. This is probably one of my top go-to 3 or 4 practices. I learned it in VIA's popular MBSP course, which stands for Mindfulness-Based Strengths Practices. If you're not familiar with it, it is known to short circuit anxiety. It's research-based, short circuit anxiety, and it helps us to kind of let go of whatever came before. So if you're like rushing into meetings and you feel like you're in a frenzy, like I often do, and so many of us do, here's a great short tool. It only takes about a minute to help us kind of get focused on the present and get grounded in a strength. Here are the steps. It's super simple. Take about 6 to 8 deep breaths. Ask yourself silently which of your character strengths comes next, and then take action. So we're going to practice this right now. I'm going to lead us through this, so it might take a little bit more than a minute, but I invite you to join in with me on a mindful pause. And let's start by just getting really strong in the body, taking a position of strength in that body. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel like it, or leave them open if that's more comfortable. Grounding down through your feet, noticing a strong connection between your feet and the ground. Beginning to turn your attention towards your breath. That beautiful connection between our minds and our bodies. And to focus solely on your breathing. But if your mind wanders, just bringing it right back to the breath. Taking about 6 breaths at your own pace. Really connecting with that breathing. And now silently asking yourself the following question. Which of my strengths will help me for the next hour to feel open, ready, confident? Which strength will help me right now? Might be the same as the one you picked previously or a different one. Just allow one to come into your awareness. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, letting the sunlight back in. And go ahead and put the strength that you chose. Just put that right into the chat. Let's see if this is changing for people at all. Which strength? We see some perspective and some gratitude, some love of learning, creativity, self-regulation, gratitude, kindness. Yeah, lots of some love of learning and more curiosity and humor. I love it. So I love how we're all choosing different strengths to lean into to help us learn, to help us focus, and make the most of our time together. So thank you for sharing that. You can feel free if you haven't had a chance to put it into the chat yet, go ahead and put that in. I just want to mention that I like to use this practice at the beginning of a webinar like today, or at the beginning of a coaching session sometimes. Might use it at the beginning of a staff meeting or at the beginning of dinner hour. My clients like to use it when they're feeling stressed or transitioning from work to home, home to work. All sorts of times and places when we can use this mindful pause. It's fast, easy, and it works. So I encourage you and invite you to use it and share it.
Jane, I will candidly tell you, when we do this session together, I always look forward to this moment because I know I'll take a moment and I'll go through the mindfulness. And then when there's something very energizing of shifting from mindfulness into a strengths-based awareness. And I love it. And I'll just share with everyone who's joined us recently, that this is a really packed hour that you'll have, I guess 50 minutes remaining with Jane. She's going to share with you a host of tips and insights from her strengths-based experience as a strengths-based coach and consultant. And with Jane, I'm just going to kind of encourage you to hop right into it and ask you, what do you, from your experience, what do professionals who are strengths-based do differently?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kelly. Let's first talk about what it means to be strength-based. I want to make sure we're sort of all on the same page as we go forward from here. There are many definitions, but in a nutshell, our human brains are hardwired to look for what's wrong, right? We know this is called the negativity bias or a deficit mindset, where we're looking for weaknesses and gaps and deficits. And we also know from the field of neuroscience that our brains process negative experiences and emotions more thoroughly. They hang around with us for a longer period of time, whereas the positive ones are more fleeting, they're more slippery, they don't last as long. So we need more of these positives to feel balanced and at our best. And using a lens of strengths helps us make this sort of shift from what's wrong to what's strong. When we're looking at what's strong, we see and value what's best in ourselves and our clients, our families and communities and organizations. So character strengths are like pathways to help us facilitate this shift. They help us get from one place to another. So kind of in a recap, a strength-based approach is about weaving character strengths, research, and practice into our daily routines, our personal routines and our professional routines.
Jane, that's really insightful. Thank you. Can you share a few tools that you use as a strengths-based coach?
Yeah, I would love to share a few tools. And I'm going to stop my share for a minute because I want to talk to you all as a fellow professional in this field. So tools for individuals as a coach or just as an individual working with character strengths. First, you're going to want to have a handful of character strengths interventions ready to go when the time is right. And I'll share with you a few of my go-tos. Number one at the top of my list is, well, aside from mindful pause, that's I mentioned probably one of my top three, but another of my top three is strength spotting. Why? Because everyone wants to feel seen and valued for who they are, not for who someone expects us to be or wants us to be, not for who we will become after we improve on a weakness or develop into something different, but who we are when we're at our best right now. Strength spotting does this. It's about noticing and appreciating people's strengths in action. And I want to point out that this is different than getting a compliment or positive feedback. So for instance, it's always nice to hear, hey, you did a nice job, right? You really nailed that presentation. Always happy to hear something like that. But listen to the difference. Hey, your creativity and perspective connected for the audience in this presentation. They were more engaged than we've seen in the past. Something like that. So the latter involves character strengths, and it becomes more meaningful and more memorable for the person receiving it. Like they made a difference for who they are when at their best. They contributed. In workshops and presentations, I have seen this practice help shift people's relationships and even transform people's lives. The mom and her estranged son, the two coworkers who rarely get along. We need more of this, right? We need more strength spotting, especially when we're not as connected sometimes as we were personally. Strength spotting can help bring us together and create these bonds and help us see each other and understand one another for who we are. I truly believe that we need more of this everywhere. So I encourage you to practice strength spotting other people. That's one tool. Another tool while you're at strength spotting is spotting your own strengths. And so to practice this, you can simply set an alert on your phone periodically every couple of hours or so and just stop and pause and ask yourself, what strength was I just using? And really noticing your own strengths. I was giving a webinar on Saturday afternoon to high school and college students, and I asked them to consider what's one of their superpowers? Like, what are you known for? One of your strengths to set you apart from others. And then I asked them to come up with a superhero name that they could then live into as a leader. And they came up with these great names like Jedi Jester for humor, or Captain Zesty was one of them. And so, knowing your strengths and being able to live into them is what strength spotting can help us do. A couple of my other go-to interventions. I mentioned the mindful pause already, but for this, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's go back to the slides. This book, Character Strengths Interventions, by Ryan Nemec. He is the Chief Science and Education Officer at VIA. This book, A Field Guide for Practitioners, is a must-have for the library of every strength-based practitioner, if possible. It contains over 70 interventions, research-based interventions. So when I said, have a handful of them ready to go, here's a place where you can have 70 ready to go if you choose to go into it in that kind of depth. It's really a terrific resource. And if you go to the back in Appendix B, there's this really awesome checklist for strength-based practitioners. It's sort of a self-assessment with a checklist of these items. For instance, do you use the VIA survey when you meet with clients? Do you use character strengths to reframe problems and challenges? The last one on this slide, a handful of character strengths interventions. This list has about 15 items, and you might use this as sort of your own checklist and go through it and see which practices you're already maybe naturally using. And then maybe there are one or two that you'd like to stretch into over the next couple months or the next year. So it's a great jumping off point for developing yourself as a strength-based professional. And this is true whether you're newer to character strengths or whether you're more seasoned character strengths.
Jane, I'll just hop in and share. I keep this on my bookshelf right behind me. And working at VIA, I certainly use them often, but this is such a great, rich resource that it never ends. And just for everyone to know, when you say Dr. Nemec, I just want everyone to know Dr. Ryan Nemec is the Chief Science and Education Officer at VIA Institute on Character. He's very much been driving the force behind so much of the research for since I think 2009 at VIA. So he's had quite an influence on the brand and the organization.
Yeah, truly. He's amazing. And this book is a masterpiece. Every page of I would show you mine, but it's over on the bookshelf. Every page has notes and sticky notes and dog ears and so on. I use it so often. So encourage you to consider checking it out. Okay, so shall we move forward, Kelly?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are tools for individuals, and I want to stop my share again and talk about sharing some tools for teams, and then we'll go back and share some more online. Um, so when working with teams, there are many ways and tools to weave character strengths into your work with groups as well. First practice, again, I have to give a shout out to strength spotting. We can not only strength spot individuals, but and not only the individuals on the teams, but also noticing the most shared strengths, collective top strengths of the team, and starting to talk about how this influences the dynamics and the culture of the team. And when these shared strengths are advantageous or disadvantageous to the work that they do. So strength spotting for individuals and groups. And so how to integrate strength spotting into teams that you're working or groups that you're working with. I want to remind myself that it could be not just a team in an organization, but a group like a family group or a friends group. So when to introduce strength spotting? Well, anytime groups gather might be a good time to introduce strength spotting. So for instance, families gather at the dinner table. That might be a great time to strength spot each other rather than going through, the complaints of the day, how you sit down and you go, oh, my boss said this and I was stuck in traffic and the weather's terrible and so on. So maybe try strength spotting, noticing a strength in each other throughout the day or that you notice throughout the day. Or when teams get together for staff meetings or status meetings or any type of a Zoom call to start with what went well, what's going well, 2 or 3 things, and then how did people's strengths contribute to what went well, making sure everybody gets strength spotted during that call. It's a super easy way to include everybody and notice and appreciate people for who they are when at their best.
Sorry, Jane. I've been trying to hunt. A couple people in the chat have asked where are the cards available on our website, and we've just reorganized our navigation. So I know Sarah will hunt them down and put them into the chat as we move on. So
Yeah.
speaking of VIA website, would you take us there? Would you show us some of the resources that folks can download freely from our website?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go to the website. So here we are on viacharacter.org. This is the home page. And if you look up in the upper right, there's this Wellbeing Insights tab up here. And if you just kind of hover over that, the first selection is activities. So Wellbeing Activities, click on Activities, and it takes you to this page. It's this whole treasure trove of resources. It starts with downloadable copies of the classification via classification. It goes into some sample reports, which I'm going to come back to in just a minute. Look at all these tools, these worksheets, happiness boosters here, ways to use character strengths in a new way. I'm always asked, how can I use these strengths? Where's information? Well, here's a worksheet of all the 24 strengths. I want to notice and highlight this one too, 10 ways to be spontaneous with strength spotting. So you can just click on it and click on the download. You can download it and print it and so on. All of these can be downloaded and printed. But this one on how to be spontaneous. So use it with groups, individuals, and incorporate strength spotting into employee reviews, into emails, and so on. Here's a resource that you can share with your clients or use it yourself. Let's see. I'm going to go back to, let's go back to the Total 24 report and spend a little bit of time on this right now. I love this report. This is VIA's most comprehensive report, and I use this with really all of my clients, whether it's a coaching client or whether I'm working with a team. I've shared this with my family members. I absolutely love this report because there's so much rich content and tools in here. So I'll just go over the table of contents real quickly. It's divided up into two sections. And section one right here kind of hones in on the person's own personal strengths profile. So it goes into a lot of depth about their signature strengths, their middle strengths, their lesser strengths. Let me just show you some of the content. It shows this grid in descending order with the raw scores, which is really interesting. So you can see exactly how people endorse these different strengths. Then it shares information about the top strengths and what it means about you and how people view you, and some research about the benefits of each strength and reflection questions. And it's just full. It's so full. So many ways to integrate this into your conversations with clients. And I wish we could spend so much more time on all of these things, but I know I'm going really fast. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. We'll try to get to them later. Section 2 talks about different dynamics of character strengths. And the one that I kind of want to go into in a little bit more depth is this optimal strengths use. It talks about not only optimal, but over and under use of each strength. So in the report, it starts on page 30. I'm going to show you what this looks like from the website, however. So let me go to this. Here, let me get there. So I know this is confusing. Let me just get down to here. If you scroll down to the lower right of this activities page and click on Finding the Golden Mean. This is the same page that you would see in your Total 24 report. So it's in the Total 24 report, but if you don't have a Total 24 report, you can find this worksheet on the website. And I'm showing this to you because I use this all the time, whether the client has the Total 24 report or not. I use this all the time. So let me just give you a quick overview of what it is. First of all, it's ordered in the person's descending ranked list. So this person's number one strength is creativity, followed by curiosity, judgment, and so on. It gives you a quick description of using it in the optimal use. So for creativity, uniqueness, that's practical and original. And it also goes into detail about overusing it, using it too much, and underusing it, not enough. So why do I think this is so important? Well, we're all humans, and none of us uses our strengths perfectly, right? Ever. We strive for optimal use, but sometimes we can get a little too much curiosity and be a little bit, intrusive or too aggressive, be perceived that way by others. Or maybe not enough curiosity. You can imagine being in a networking situation where you're chatting with someone and they're just not taking an interest. That could be perceived as an underuse of curiosity. But when we're using curiosity in an optimal way, it's about exploring and being interested and open and so on. So optimal use can help build relationships and well-being. The over and under use can actually push people away and affect our well-being in negative ways. So I'd like to pull this worksheet out when conversation is getting sort of stressful or person is feeling a little bit tense, or when multiple people are, the conversation isn't being productive, just by pulling this worksheet out is a reminder often that, oh yeah, we have these strengths, and let's try to reframe the situation using a strengths perspective. So is there a little bit of over or underuse, or are there other strengths that I could raise up and use them a little bit more optimally? It's a great conversation piece for reframing challenges and getting, rather than assigning blame to people, bringing strengths right into the conversation.
Jane, I'll just quickly say, I know you're covering a lot. It's one of my favorite aspects of the whole literature on character strengths. I can use it personally. I find that as the little bit of coaching that I've done, it's such a kind way to work with another human and help them discover it's not, oh, you're doing something wrong. It's sometimes that you're overusing a strength, right? Or underusing a strength. So I don't mean to derail, but I just kind of quickly want to share that it's one of the most useful features. And in the Total 24 report, what's so nice is that it's personalized to that individual. You get to see your own what your tendencies are.
Yeah, and it's, you're so right. And just by having this tool available to us, especially when we're in times of conflict, or when things are tense, either within ourselves or between us and other people, it's a really good sort of cue to stop and think about, take a pause and think about, oh, what strengths am I using, or what strengths is that other person using? And am I using enough social intelligence right now? Am I being a little bit too much judgment? Am I being a little bit too critical? Judgment, by the way, is not about being judgmental in an optimal use. It's about critical thinking. A lot of people will think of judgment as that overly critical stage, but that's actually the overuse of judgment. And when we're over and under using these strengths, they're really not acting like strengths anymore, are they? When we're using them optimally, we receive benefit. Other people receive benefit. But on the ends, the over and under use, they're not really acting like strengths. Some people think they're acting like weaknesses at that point. So yeah, really important to think about which strengths do I maybe need to raise up to, or temper, bring down to really meet the needs of the situation at hand. Okay, so shall we move on to the dashboard demonstration, Kelly?
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm gonna steal the screen from you
Yeah,
and share. Let's see. I'll share some of the highlights of the VIA Pro dashboard, which you can talk everyone through when
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, so the via yeah, so now we're shifting from some of the worksheets and reports and so on into the VIA Pro dashboard, which I know a lot of you are probably interested in using. What is this? Basically, it's an online tool that VIA has created that offers a way to use surveys and reports, and we'll talk about what all these things mean, to help other people. And using the dashboard helps us to streamline our own administrative work, which I'm always in favor of streamlining admin work and doing less of it. Here's one tool that can help you do that to make you more productive. And it kind of facilitates connection with clients as well. And also you can share strengths content through the dashboard. And one of the best things of all, it's free of charge, which I think is brilliant. So we all get a chance to use this tool, and I'm going to talk about how to use it. So I'm going to go right to sharing my screen again on the website. Let's get over there. So I'm just going back to the VIA homepage, viacharacter.org. This is what the homepage looks like. And if you already have an account with VIA, you don't need to set up a new account to use a dashboard. You can just log into your existing account, and there's a button. I think if you scroll down sort of right-hand corner-ish, there's a big button that says activate your pro dashboard. And you just click on that button and follow the prompts, and then you are able to use the dashboard. If you do not have a VIA account already set up, you can go to the VIA homepage, which is right here, viacharacter.org, and click up here in the upper right, this professionals link. If you just hover over that and then scroll down to this first item, create a dashboard, just click on that. I'm not going to do this today, but you can just click on this Create a Pro Dashboard button, and it will walk you through the steps to create your account, set up the dashboard, and then you're set to go. So once you have your account, you'll go ahead and sign in, which I'm going to do right now. We have a demo account that's already set up for us to work with. I'm just logging into that demo account. And the first thing that you'll encounter is this Take the Tour button right here. So we're going to take a quick tour so you understand what's on this dashboard page. All right, the first thing it brings us to is survey invitations. What is a survey invitation? Well, let me jump back. In order to know our character strengths, we need to take the survey, right? In order to take the survey, there's a link that has to be clicked on that allows us, that takes us to the actual survey where you type in the answers. And so when we talk about survey invitations, we're talking about an email basically that has the link in it that you will send to your coaching clients or your consulting clients. So when they receive this, they'll have a link that they can click on and take the survey. So the survey invitation is this thing that you create to send to them to invite them to take the survey. Okay, we'll come back and look at each section individually in just a minute, but I do want to click through this overview. Once your clients have taken the survey, their results are going to populate right here in this participant results section. You'll also be able to see any reports that you've generated for them that they've received, and you can view them, you can download them here and send them to them as well. Here's a section on report credits. What is a report credit? Well, it's kind of like prepaying for reports. So this is for VIA's fee-based reports. We have access to, everybody has access to the free download. That's just a ranked list. But we also have these fee-based reports, the top 5, for instance, or the VIA team report. You would also see the total 24 report here. And you can buy credits, which means sort of prepaying for like a stash of reports that sit in your account ready for you to use them. So as you get a client that comes in, you want to send them a report, you can use one of your credits, and then they don't have to bother going online and paying for it. And you've already got yours paid for, so you can share this. And what I like to do is buy report credits, and then I will send them a report. And when I send them an invoice, my clients, I'll cover the cost of the report in my invoice. So you can choose to do that or not. So I haven't taken the survey under this account. I took it under my own account, but if I had, this is where my results would show. So in your account, this is where your results will show. And then you can register for courses to increase your own learning and development. Okay, so let me show you one quick thing up at the top here. So you can navigate through these different sections on the dashboard, but you can also navigate the same way up at the top here, these different buttons. You can see the dashboard, reports and courses, survey invitations, and participant results. And I do want to highlight this help function. This is actually a helpful help function. Whoever put this together was really did a good job. Many, if not most or all of your questions about this can be answered here. It's very well organized. I just want to point it out to let you know that this help function is here. Okay, so let me go back to the dashboard. Well, let me start with the report credits, because probably one of the first things I would encourage you to consider doing is purchasing some credits. So when you look at this section over here on report credits and click on buy credits, you can just click on that and it takes you to a screen where you can learn about all of the fee-based reports that VIA offers. And let's say I'm interested in the total 24 report and I want to buy some. I can, I can buy one or 20 or however many I want to buy. And there are bulk discounts for larger quantities. I would encourage you to consider doing that. So you can do that here. Probably one of the first things you're going to be doing, though, is sending people invitations to take the survey. So let's click on this create invitation. Here's what it looks like. And there are already some invitations set up in this account. Now you can organize your invitations in any way that's meaningful for you. So if you send the VIA Youth Survey, here we've got it set up via Demo Youth or via Demo Adult for those who are taking the adult survey. But you might have an invitation set up for family and friends or certain types of coaching clients, or if you get a new client that you're working with an organization, you might have an invitation set up in their name. Okay, so let's work with the invitations that are already set up, and then I'll show you how to set a new one up. Let's use this Demo Adult. So anytime this person wants to send an adult survey, they can simply go over to the ... over here on the right of this via Demo Adult invitation, click on Invite Participants, and it takes us to a screen that gives you two choices. I'm going to go through this one on the right first, share a link. This is where you can just copy this link and paste it into an email, like your Yahoo account or your Gmail account. You just copy and paste it. You create your own greeting and, as we discussed previously, blah, 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 include the link and send that email off. Or you can invite participants through the dashboard, which is this first button. This is really handy. You can put in the participant's email address. You can use a report credit and choose whichever report. So you can generate and attach a report of results to send to them as you invite them. You can email that report to the participant or not. You can email yourself the report or not. You can be notified each time they complete a survey. Sometimes they do it more than once. And then you can tailor or customize the subject and also the text. So here's where you might put in, hey, per our discussion on whatever date, here's a link to take the survey. Then you can send a test to yourself and you can save it for later or you can save it and send it. So it's kind of like all in one. It's really handy to be able to do all of this at one time. It saves a lot of time and back and forth between you and your clients.
Jane, I have a little question that's come up here, really relevant to what you were just covering. Sarah, do you want to share the question that you found in the chat, I think from Angela?
Yeah, yeah. Angela was asking, when you share a survey invitation, what does it look like from the participant side or your coachee?
Well, I can't show you that right now, but it looks like a regular email. If you click on the dot, 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 go back to that, and let's say when you're inviting participants, you can always send yourself a test email. And so that's what it looks like as a test to you is what it's going to look like to them.
Awesome.
So it's an email. I think it says, yeah, it's just like a regular email. Yeah,
Perfect.
great question. But that's where you can look at it specifically before it goes off to a client. That good?
Yeah, I
Great.
think you got it. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, now let's say you want to set up a new survey invitation. You get a new client and you want to set up a new invitation. So here's where you're going to set it up, just new survey invitation. You're going to give it an invitation name and you're going to choose the domain name. Now, this is the URL. So let's say you're working with ABC Company. Maybe that's the invitation name you give it. The domain name, you might want to make it ABC Company and then give it some sort of unique um, ending to it, because if someone already has ABC Company, you'll get an error message. You won't be able to use that URL. But this is the link you're creating that they will click on that takes them to the survey. You can also upload your logo here, so you can personalize this and brand it. You'll choose which survey, what language, instructions that you want to put in for the participant. You can show or hide the results in case you want to deliver them in person. You don't want them to see the results before you deliver them in person, for instance, and send a thank you message. And then you click continue and you just finish the setup that way, which I don't think that we'll do today. But once you finish the setup, then it will show up in this list right here on survey invitations. And at that point, you can, again, you can click on the dot, 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 you can invite more participants and so on. So you can reuse these survey invitations once they're set up. Okay, shall we move on?
Sounds good, Jane. There's more questions coming in. We're
Okay,
answering some of them, and then we'll, just in the interest of time, folks probably are time pressed in the middle of the day. So I don't want to interrupt you now. I want to let you just kind of,
okay,
yeah, get through everything, and then we'll dig into some questions.
good. So we'll push forward. There's not a lot left to cover, but there are a couple of things I would like to cover. So once you've invited people to take the survey, once they've finished taking the survey, their results will start populating here in your secure account under participants. So what I did, I just clicked on this participant results up here, and this is where you'll see everybody's results. As you can see in this account, we have 3 people that have taken the survey: Panita Demo 3, Steve Demo 2, and Sally Demo 1. And I can click on their names and get more information about them. I can see their results. I can see which reports have been generated. I can download that report. I can use credits to buy additional reports. And this person happens to be in a team. We'll talk about setting up teams in just 1 minute. So you get all this information when you click on their name on this link. You can also, if you go over to the dot, 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 oh, no, view participant. You can view their results this way as well by clicking on that link, and you can download their free results. So different ways of navigating. Now, there's one other interesting thing about individuals when they take the survey. And suppose you have a client that has already taken the survey, but you don't have their results in your account. So here's a way you can request access so that you can get the results in your account and they don't have to like email you paper, a download, or you don't have to deal with paper copies and so on. So again, we're in participant results and this button request access. And you just simply put in the name of the participant or their email. You identify which survey invitation you want them to accumulate under. So let's say you wanted to put them in ABC company, like that. You fill all this out and you can add a message and then send them the request. So they'll see this request and grant you access, and then you'll see their results in your dashboard. So it's very streamlined, very handy. So I did want to show you that. And then the last thing I want to show before we take some questions maybe is if you're working with teams, you can see this little menu item right here next to participants teams. You can click on that. And here's where you're going to set up a team. So in order to set up a team, everybody on the team has to have already taken the survey, because you can't add someone after the team is set up. So everybody's taken the survey. You've got all their individual results here under participants. Now you want to set up a team. So the way to do that is click on New Team, this button on the right here. It's pretty straightforward. You give the team a name, you add all of the team participants, and you can do this by just searching. It searches your account for different, people who have taken the survey, and then you save it, and that creates the team. And here's a team that has been created. It's called Demo Team 23. You can click on that. You can see who's in the team. You can see the report that's been generated for them. Panita, Steve, and Sally are all part of this team. Quite straightforward. And you can also generate the team report from here. So by clicking on this link, Generate Team Report, it does require 1 report credit per person. So a report credit for the team report is $15 per person. So you'll have to have, let's say there are 10 people on the team, you'll need to use 10 credits for the team report, and then you accept the terms, you generate the report, the results come to you. So you get the report and you can use the report however it works for the work that you have with clients. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to share today. Not kind of, that is what I wanted to share today.
You covered a lot, and I'm glad I didn't interrupt you because the chat is percolating, and I know Sarah's keeping a couple of key questions to the side that we want to make sure we might have partially answered, but we want to make sure they also get your answer. With that
Perfect.
said, if you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and show the final slides. And then maybe, we can switch back to showing the dashboard if that's required, to answer some of these questions. So I'm just going to steal
Sure.
the screen because I'm, mindful that it's the middle of the day for many of us. Others located in places like Finland, it's probably quite, probably evening, I'm guessing, early evening.
Yeah.
But we do want to let you know that we always say thank you to the folks who attend our webinars.